Hey, what's going on, guys? I have a video about never quitting no matter what happens. So what am I talking about is life is very curious in terms of how things unfold and the choices we make and the long-term implications and the doors that you open. And you're going to make mistakes, and some of those mistakes are going to be genuine things you don't know, and other times there's going to be things you do know, and you will, I guess the difference between mistakes and sins, right? It's that sin is something you do know you shouldn't do, and you do it anyway, for a lower reason, meaning you lie for the sake of your ego. That would be a sin. Lie to save someone's life, not a sin. It's, you're making a lie for the sake of the higher good. So doing something wrong for the sake of a lower thing is a sin, and you may commit sins, and you may make mistakes, and in both cases you're gonna get punished by life to some degree. At least that's what it's gonna seem like. However, during those moments, if you pay attention to what life is trying to teach you, what God is trying to teach you, you're going to have a way easier time coping with those difficult times that are brought upon by your own insufficiency, mistakes, and sins. And sometimes you may say, well, Zane, what happens to people that don't commit sins and make mistakes? That is sometimes, still tragedies, let's say. And to that I would still say that the answer is the same. The answer is, what is life or God and God trying to teach me? And in those moments, if you can ask yourself that question and genuinely not look at it from the angle of, this is very difficult and I don't want to do this anymore, to what would matter, what would happen if I looked at this as a positive for me in the long run. There's a quote that I love reminding myself in difficult times, that don't say that this is misfortune, but say that to bear this worthily would be good fortune. Meaning, if you have a situation in life that is genuinely unfortunate, but you bear it and you handle it with as much poise, elegance, and grace as one can possibly handle, and it would be genuinely that misfortune would become something for you rather than something that is against you. Another quote that I love is, the bravest sight in the world is seeing a great man struggle with adversity. I've found a lot of solace and rest in these words during my times of difficulty and challenge and the dark nights, knowing that these will be the scars that I carry that will remind me of what it took to grow and to win on the other side of this journey. Aaron Stokes, may God rest his soul, was a great man, and he always used to say, never trust a leader without a limp. And I always found that funny, but he says, when you see that limp on that leader, you know he's been through things. All great leaders have limps. All great men and women have been through difficulties. Another saying I love is, skillful sailors are seldom made in calm waters. You have to go through the storm, and if you stop in the storm, you will be done. Another Aaron Stokes quote is that when you find yourself in hell, keep walking. If you stop, it'll be over. So don't stop. Another friend of mine, Heath Harris, always says, you just don't have to win, you just make sure you never quit. If you don't quit, you will ultimately win. And I agree with that. I think that if you understand that there are only winners and quitters in the game of life, then you just have to hang on long enough until the storm passes. So when you get to the other side, you will not be a hollow leader. You will be somebody who carries weight and density because of the difficult things you've gone through and the lessons that you've learned. And it's not going to be something that you will wear proudly on your arm so that people can look at your brandished wisdom. It's not quite like that. It's more so a silent understanding that all of this had to be earned in a very specific way to you. Life and God deals you the cards that are specific for you to develop. So every difficulty I've ever encountered has been unique to me. Every single thing, whether it was growing up here in an immigrant family, dropping out of high school, and so on. I don't know if anybody else would have had those difficulties and derived the same lessons that I did. They had to be very, very unique, right? And I think every single person has the same exact situation. Your difficulties were made tailor-fit, custom tailored just for you, so you could be a great man or a great woman. And if you think that, oh, like, this sucks and all of this is just a coincidence and life is just hard generically, and I don't believe that at all. I don't think life is hard generically. I think life is hard specifically, very specifically for every single individual. And not only that person, but also the things that they need to develop in them so that they can be great people. This idea to me, right, it's like, you know, like all of us have these gifts, and to unlock them, there's these keys, and the keys are difficulties. The keys are, the keys are just things that you don't want to face. The keys are difficult times and loss and, embarrassment and addictions and, failures. These are the keys that unlock discomfort, right? These are the things that unlock the things that are inside you, if you let them. But if you say, like the key goes in and twists, but you will hold on to that door and not let it open, well, that on the other side of the door is where your gifts are. And I think I read this somewhere that in your darkest parts of personality, like your dark side, right? We call that the dark side. Carl Jung. It's the part of you that you don't like, the parts of you that you're not proud of, the parts of you that you're ashamed of, whatever that is. In that dark side is also your greatest gift. In those dark things that you're ashamed of also lies your greatness. And I love that idea because it's an idea that invokes you to face your darkness. An idea that invokes you to face the difficulty, the shitty stuff that you don't want to talk about, that you don't rather just turn away from and pretend it's not there. And you know what? The more successful I've seen people, and as I have climbed through the ranks of life, whatever ranks that I have climbed, not that many to be very honest, but I can tell you this, that it took one thing above all, as I look at people who haven't been able to, or had the good fortune of doing, is that it took a lot of honest looking at myself. It took a lot of impartial, unbiased, genuinely curiosity, honest look at myself to look at me and say, you know what, these things actually, some of them are bad, some of them are not, and just to be able to look at myself without freaking out and just look at all of it and look at my dark side and say, man, I don't like these things. Why don't I like these things? Why do I do these things? How did I get to doing these things? How did I end up like this? And the person who can look at themselves with the most critical and the closest microscope will be the person that can sort themselves out and really derive the lessons that God is trying to teach them. I've seen it. I've felt it in my own life. I have to be very honest with myself. And it's something that I continue to be, something that the journey I'm still on. I don't think it's ever going to end. I mean, every month there's something that comes up and I'm like, man, like I thought I was a man, like I'd already been developed, right? What happened? And in some respect, it's very humbling because, I'm like, man, I thought I was done with this struggle. No, I'm not. Oh man, it sucks. It brings you to your knees a little bit. You're kind of like one knee down, right? You're not fully on your knee. You got one knee down, you get beat down, you just get back up, right? And don't stay there, right? That's the thing. Like, don't stay there. And another thing is, it's good because it's, I think that if there's a heaven, we got to earn it. I believe that wholeheartedly, and I think that heaven often is portrayed as something that is, after you pass, and I believe in that. But I also believe that there's a heaven here, right here on earth, that we can bring about with our words, with our actions, with our energy, with our legacy. And what I mean by that is that if you become somebody who's genuinely honest and a positive force in the world, you will create a little heaven around you everywhere you go. People will feel safe. I'll be honest, Aaron was one of those people. Wherever he went, heaven followed him. And I don't mean that in a blasphemic way. Like I don't mean that in the heaven of the above. I mean, heaven is something that, there's hell on earth. I mean, I don't think anybody doubts that, right? Hell on earth is people killing each other and all sorts of unholy things happening. And the opposite of that would be heaven on earth, where people tell each other the truth, circles where people are honest, genuinely loving, and productive to each other. And you can do that, but you have to earn that. And how do you earn that? Is you have to clean yourself. You have to purify yourself. Purify yourself, not necessarily, although I do mean that in a religious sense, but I mean that in the sense that by your own judgment, what do you need to do that you would consider yourself purified? What habits and thoughts and ideas and actions would you need to stop doing? And what things would you be doing consistently that you would consider yourself a better person? And work on that, and that's something by your own judgment. I'm not trying to look at you and be like, hey, you should and you should and you should. I don't believe in that, guys. The whole you should stuff, man, that works for very small. I mean, it doesn't even work on kids, to be honest. That you should is, you should all over yourself, right? Like, don't do that. Instead, you just be like, what would I have to be so I could look at myself in the mirror and say I'm genuinely proud of myself? And you should be proud of yourself already, to be very honest, because of everything you've already been through. I think there's something to be said about that. That's why I'm genuinely so encouraging, and I try to be encouraging to so many of the young guys and even the older people in the company, because all of us have been through so much crap, and we deserve some respect and some recognition for that from ourselves. But once that's done, the next step is to say, well, what else could I do that would make me further proud of who I am? What battles should I go engage in? Even if I don't win them, to have engaged in those battles, I would be proud of myself. What would those battles be? What should I go try to fix now in myself and things around me that I would be proud of me? So once you do that, you evolve into another creature, and as you slowly do that, the area around you also evolves. When we purify ourselves, so everything around us also starts to purify, and that's what heaven is, guys. That's what heaven is. It's taking chaos and turning it into inhabitable order, where people can bring their families and live in peace and security and productivity. And that's what leadership is. All of this really comes down to leadership. So when you don't quit, you tell yourself that I'm not going to let this push me down anymore. I'm not going to let this push me down anymore. I refuse to stay down there. I will fight until I can't. Until I'm physically debilitated, I will not stop. I will not stop. You can push me down, but you can't keep me there. You say those things to yourself long enough, and you keep getting up long enough, then I think eventually, like, the forces of evil, or whatever the heck it is that's pushing you down, whether it's your own evil energy that was inherited by your childhood or your circumstance, nothing wants to stand in front of something that doesn't give up. Nothing. That's just the nature of life. Like, you just don't. If you refuse to stay down, eventually whatever's pushing you down is going to stop. It cannot go on. The human will and spirit is indefatigable if you choose to believe that. Cannot be tired. Nothing other than God can defeat it. I believe that, guys. I 100% believe that. The human spirit is indefatigable. It cannot get tired. It's not capable of being pressed if it believes in it. So that all said, never quit. Ever. Period. Never quit on yourself. Never quit on your dreams. Never quit on the fact that you're a good person and you were meant to bring some light into this world. Never quit on that. Believe in yourself. Believe in your vision. Believe in your spirit. Believe that you are a representation of the light on this earth. Because you are. Who's going to take care of all these issues that you see in the world? Who's going to be the hero? I mean, it must be you, because you see them, right? I mean, who else is it going to be? I mean, you're the one who sees them. Most of these people are completely oblivious to the fact that there's even issues that you see that need to get fixed, or the ones you're working on already fixing, and most people don't even believe that the issue's there. So who's going to have to fix it? It's going to have to be you, looks like. I don't see anybody else doing it. And you have to believe that you're the hero. If you don't believe that, then who is it? Right? It's some dude in your imagination, some girl in your imagination. Not going to happen. You were meant to do great things, and if you stop, those things will never happen. Aaron told me one time, Zane, there are young couples right now that are struggling financially and otherwise because of their own curse from their family, and they weren't given the gift. And these people, their lives will change. Their lives will change when you meet them. And I say that to you right now. There are people that their lives will change when you meet them. They're waiting for you to get your crap together so you can go and help them and bring that light into their life. Bring that gift into their life. So then they can also have that gift and they can go share it with others. And the gift isn't like the talents. Sure, you could say the talents are a gift. Here I'm referring to, because everybody has talents. Here in the gift I'm referring to is the awareness. That's what I mean by the gift. Awareness, the belief is the gift. The belief is the gift. And Aaron gave me that gift. He gave me the gift of belief. And the belief is such a beautiful gift that the more you gift it, the greater it becomes. It's one of those gifts that the more you share it, the more it grows. And he gave me that gift. I've been trying to share it ever since. And we've done it successfully thanks to the guys on the team. I've seen hundreds of people's lives change and their families change. And if a clinically depressed immigrant boy with no money, high school dropout, could make that kind of an impact, then I sure as hell you can do it too. I sure as hell believe that 100%. I think you just gotta believe, and you just gotta never quit. You know, there's so many things I would put on my gravestone, but one of them would be, amongst the non-funny ones, because there's a bunch of those, silly ones that I always say put this on my gravestone, but amongst the non-funny ones, I would be honored if somebody put on my gravestone, "This man did not quit on himself and on other people." That would be something that I would love to emulate, and so that it's true when it is put on my gravestone. I really don't believe in gravestones to begin with, to be honest. I would rather not even have one, but that's a story for another day. I hope this rant was helpful, guys. Again, I appreciate you all listening, but I want to memorialize these lessons for myself. If I live to live a long life, I would love to see these videos again. But to also my children, if you guys are watching this years later, know that I did this in part for you all as well, and then my people, the people that are on the team, so that you don't have to go and relearn these lessons from scratch. Take the foundation that I have set and build upon that, and build it as high as you can. But don't try to dig something if I've already got the foundation set for you. So whoever it helps, all praise and glory is to God above all, and the intention is to help, so I hope that it does that. Thank you so much, guys. Believe in yourself and never ever ever quit on yourself. Thank you.